What is up? It's Dakota Layden here from Destination Fear, and you are listening to the Paranormal Zone.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, fellow zoners and paranormal ponderers. You are in the Paranormal Zone, your weekly dose of all things, you guessed it, paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick Koffenberg, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the real reason people tune in to the Paranormal Zone, everyone's favorite, Mr. Mike Carbno. How you doing, my friend? It's good to see you. Jeez. Was that a sarcastic yay or
no? It was actually an Anthony Edwards imitation of when he stopped his girlfriend from playing the violin in Revenge of the Nerds. He started clapping and said, "Yay!"
That's
cut her right off.
No, that wasn't Anthony Edwards. That was no. You're right. That was Anthony Edwards. Yeah, that was Gilbert.
Okay,
you are correct.
Gilbert. That's right.
That's right. Yeah, he's the only one who goes, "Yay!"
Yeah.
Sorry, I was drawing a blank there. That's one of my favorite movies. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that scene, it just always kills me. Just that little, like 3 seconds of, yay.
Classic 80s humor, right?
Absolutely.
The 80s raunchy teen comedies. I guess this would have been early college year comedies, but yeah. Revenge of the Nerds, baby. Well, it's good to see you, Mike. And, I'm kind of serious when I say you are the reason people tune in to the Paranormal Zone. Everyone wants to hear what Mike has to say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, about my aching back and my jobless life now. And
no, nay. My
disability.
I was in a mood today, Mike. I was in a mood, and I was like, you know what? I'm feeling pretty damn pissy, and I'm sorry for popping my peas.
You were feeling what?
Pissy. I just popped my
pissy.
pee again.
Okay.
I
got it.
Popped it horribly right there, but I was going, you know what? I'm going to feel sorry for my dumbass. No one likes me on the podcast.
That can't be true.
People are annoyed by I haven't said this for a while, Mike, my nasally, whiny voice.
Yeah.
Everyone is tuning in to listen to the bubbly man himself.
The bubbly man.
the man of paranormal wisdom. The all-loving, all-caring, all-knowing Mr. Mike Carbno. Yeah, I was pouting, but then I got out of it.
Yeah, that's good.
But not really.
Shouldn't have been in there in the first place. Get the hell out.
I know. I kid. I kid. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Mike, for showing up. It is Friday. We went a couple weeks without an episode, so I feel kind of...
Yes, we did.
Maybe that's what set me down the path of the downtrodden, because I was feeling bad about... it's been a while since we had a new episode out. We made plans. We kept pushing it back. I kept pushing it back. We make more plans. Other stuff happens, and once you know it, it's been 2 weeks, but...
Yeah, well, it will be back on track as of now.
And you know what? What better episode to leave it on for a brief hiatus to let the listeners simmer. But the Bigfoot Encounters episode 2, the Roger Patterson Bob Gimlin story. I think that episode went swell. It was a blast talking about one of our favorite topics for sure.
It was.
Hopefully, I did not talk too much, and everyone collectively rolls her eyes right now as I said that. And Mike's just staring blankly at the screen going, Patrick, you're doing it again.
I'm just letting you go. What an episode we have today, though.
Oh, man, this is going to be a blast. We have a very, very special guest joining us shortly.
She's crazy.
Wacky, weird, wild, or you call her whatever you want.
Only because she's related to Patrick.
Right. That's what
but I hear tell she's got some great stories, though, and it's going to be an awesome thing. Well worth listening to.
Yes. As I briefly butchered on the prior episode, I absolutely destroyed one of her examples of her weird, wild, wacky paranormal experiences, and she will clarify, she will rectify, she will correct my mistake,
yes.
And eloquently entertain us with, no joke, all whimsical cheeriness and goofiness aside. My niece Chloe is going to be joining us, and Mike, dare I say, she's almost like you, it seems, where she is apt to have ghostly, odd, anomalous, paranormal experiences. And she's been going through this since she was a child. That's right. And we're going to dive into her stories. We're going to let her talk about them in detail. We're going to go back and forth. We're going to walk our way through these and talk our way through these and try and figure out what the hell's going on there. She did send me an email, a very astute, very concise email, briefly describing the stories she is going to share. And man, some of them are downright creepy. Some of them are bizarre. Some of them are weird. All of them are cool. And man, we can't wait to talk to Chloe. She's really excited. I can't wait for you to meet her, Mike. Yeah, she's Mr. Show's daughter, one of his 578 kids, and she'll be joining us shortly. Looking forward to that. I can't wait for your feedback, Mike. I want your organic response. It's going to be pretty cool. And I must say, in keeping with track with other guests that we've had on of this ilk, she is a rather attractive lady. Hey now, you be respectful. Hey, I am totally respectful. I'm kidding, Mike. My gosh. Well, let's see here. Before we move on any further, though, we want to start out this episode. Yeah, I was going to go down a really weird path when it comes to titling this episode. I changed my mind. I still think you should have done it because it was awesome. But I changed my mind yesterday. I sent Mike the suggestion. I was going to go with the title Haunted Bloodlines. And I was like, nah. It's got a great ring to it, though. Maybe a wee bit too much. Maybe if the late, great Vincent Price could have introduced a title like that. Oh, there you go. It would have worked. But I thought maybe, people clicked on that maybe they would, when they started listening to it, they'd be like, this isn't what I was expecting. So, no, exactly. I went with the generic, but to the point, Ghost Stories 2. Yes. Very creative. And there'll be a Ghost Stories 3. Absolutely there will be, because we have another family member joining us shortly, your niece, Rachel. She's going to be joining us hopefully sooner rather than later. I did reach out to her the other day. I got her email address, and so we're gonna set up a date. Because man, talk about more weird, wild, wacky, paranormal stuff. She has got some awesome stories as well, and she can verify our family history of oddness, paranormal oddness. Well, I want to start this show, Micah. It is in a way kind of plugging our and promoting our Patreon page, but I really wanted to talk about this and hopefully encourage people to check it out. That video that I posted on our Patreon page recently, it still got me scratching my head. I think it's safe to say that you're still scratching your head about what the hell was captured in your house. I am very much so, yes. And what we're doing here is starting. Well, let's just do it right now. Starting now, actually starting about 7 minutes ago. Oh, I was recording. On video, I'm going to post this clip. We're sharing the screen. You can see our lovely faces right next to the shot that Mike filmed. Yep, there. Hi, Hi. This will be available on Patreon as you watch us kind of talk through this. If you're watching this on Patreon, keep an eye on the lower left corner of Mike's television screen. The shot here, for those who aren't able to watch this, is Mike on his couch immediately after what you described. You thought you saw out of the corner of your eye a shadow person to your
Yes.
left towards the kitchen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just beyond that barn door, hanging sliding door, or whatever.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. The television is off. Mike pulled out like his ghost app on his iPad and was filming with his cell phone. And I've mentioned this before. I think I mentioned this on the prior episode that Mike actually filmed this like almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And I just, again,
around Christmas of the previous year, I can see some decorations there.
Yeah, you comment on the clip here, though. You say, like, don't mind the Christmas decorations. I haven't gotten around to taking them down because basically I'm crippled. That's what you're saying.
Well, they're down now.
Yeah. But again, this goes to show you the benefits of just randomly going through all of your audio, video clips. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I found that awesome audio anomaly from the old It's Debbie clip that added to the press play EVP, added some validity to it. Now, this is just weird. Okay, Mike, let's just play it here. I believe it's like around the 55-second mark. I'll get back to there. Yeah, we'll start at 51 seconds. I have it on mute so you don't have to hear what's going on. You can hear us talking about it. But again, if you are watching this,
farted in there or something.
He did. He belched. He farted. You heard some. You heard some unscrupulous like scratching noises. Who knows what was going on there?
Yeah.
If you are watching, we encourage you guys to check this out. We'd love to see you on the Patreon page. Tons of cool content over there. Keep an eye on the lower left. Again, Mike just thought he saw a shadow person. Now on the lower left of this screen, not the glowy red orangish reflection. That's from your salt lamp. Not that. It's directly below and to the right of it. I'm going to press play right now. Shut up.
I love it when you say that.
I know
anyway,
you
go
do.
ahead.
It gets into focus. There, see that right there? It is forming. It's moving and it shoots upward. Now it's only about like 3 or 4 seconds. Mike, is it difficult for you to see it? I know you've watched this on the Patreon page. But
yeah, I'm trying to, get the whole glimpse of it here.
yeah, because we're sharing the screen right now, and it's probably difficult for Mike, but I'll play it again. Right to the right and below the salt lamp reflection. Right there. Mm-hmm. It's moving towards the right, and it's shaking, and zoom, it jumps off the screen.
Yeah.
It's not a flipping dust particle.
No, I know it. There's no way that it would be.
And Mike, when I first showed this to Bridget, I mentioned this before. She immediately said, "That looks like arms."
Yeah. Oh, you can see my shillelagh up above the door.
Yeah, look at this little shillelagh.
See my shillelagh.
I'm going to play it one more time here.
Anyway, yeah.
One more time here, so we can get to Chloe. There it is. It's moving to the right. It shimmers. It shakes. It shimmers. And then zoom, it jumps up. First off, that's a pretty intelligent dust particle, if that's a dust particle. It was really weird. And it
was too big for it, too.
Yes, exactly. I can't figure out for the life of me, Mike, a quote-unquote logical explanation for what that could be. What's it going to take for us to go down the path of that is something paranormal that was caught on reflection on your television screen?
Well, especially with I had just seen a shadow figure. It could have been in a spot moving again where I couldn't see it physically, but the reflection did show up in the TV.
And I asked you if do you have windows directly in line of the reflection? Would have been picked up something off of that? And you immediately said no, those aren't the windows. And even if they were just the color, it wouldn't make sense because
exactly
it's not like you see the light coming through an open window. You see the black screen and a light appear on it. And it moves and it looks like two arms and it's just odd. I want to say
Yeah.
it's something out of the ordinary at the very least.
Right.
I don't know. What do you
Well,
think?
you
What,
know,
what do you think, Mike? What's it going to take? Are you going to go down that path? Are you going to say it's paranormal, or we just can't right now?
Well, I totally cannot 100% equivocally say that it's paranormal, but I can lean towards that, and I will be looking at this further.
Please
And,
do. Please do.
Maybe try to do some comparison video and see what comes up and what might show up again. I don't know.
Hey, that's a good idea. That is a good idea, because I'm pretty sure that you have the same layout there now.
Yeah,
Maybe.
there's a couple things that have moved a little bit, but it's
Yeah.
everything that's pertinent to the whole thing would be the same as it was back when this was taken.
It looks like, according to your clock, unless your clock was wrong, the one above the TV, it looks like that was recorded at 4:45.
It looks like, yeah.
4:45. So, yeah, maybe someday if you're there, you just kind of get in the general same area, start recording
Same time.
at the same time, and
Yeah, since I haven't been working, that's my spot. So,
Mike.
got a butt mold in the, formed into the seat.
Do you need a shoulder to cry on, Mike?
It's always warm.
Are you okay? Are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I just
Yeah,
have to check. Have to make sure.
Yeah, we both need to peruse this more.
Yeah. And
'Cause
again,
I think there is something to it.
and this isn't merely a cheap Patreon plug. This is
Right.
We are sincerely curious of what the hell this could be. I just don't know. I can't think of anything logical that could write it off.
I have one more thing to add to it. To me, adds credence because, okay, I'm always working on trying to be more sensitive and to be more, feeling paranormal activity or the whole psychic thing. We've talked about this for quite a while.
Yes.
So I think I may have mentioned this before. I don't know if it was on an episode or if it was just you, but the last few weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, when I'm sitting in the living room watching TV, what I can only describe as feeling a presence. I mean, and it's so strong. It's like you could be, it's like if, say, like you and Bridget are home. You're in one room, and she's out in the kitchen or something, or out in the living room, and you sense that because she's there.
Right.
Well, I get the same feeling, the same strong sense when I'm home by myself. I mean, and it will all of a sudden hit me, and it'll go away after maybe a couple of minutes or a few minutes. And this has been happening. I can't even count how many times it's happened over these last few weeks, but it's very strong. And I always get the feeling of the sense of out in that room, in the dining room, where I saw that shadow figure.
Really?
When this was recorded.
So you
lately I've been really feeling a strong presence.
Really?
That's the only way I can put it.
So you just feel like you're not alone, that someone else is there.
Exactly. And it comes and goes as they're there. And if they're not there, I don't feel it. It's like,
do your dogs show any reaction to anything at all? Or
no,
okay.
They haven't.
Okay.
But it's like when ghost hunting team goes into a house on TV, and the psychic that's with them, they'll say, "Oh, I get a strong feeling of this presence." It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's not like an imaginary. Well, seems like there might be somebody there. No, I feel it. There is something there. It's just bizarre.
Yeah. I think we all know what you're talking about. I mean,
yeah.
I've said this on the podcast probably 1,000 times. I had that really strong sensation, years ago in the living room out there when, everyone was
like, it. You just
everyone was in bed. I was the only one up. I think I was watching a football game. Maybe it wasn't that. It doesn't matter what I was watching, but I was just sitting in the recliner, and I just turned around because I was certain that one of my kids was standing behind me. You know,
Right.
I just
Yeah,
knew
so
it.
you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you telling that.
And then I turned around and nope, no one there. I mean, it was a
Yep.
strong sensation. I was like, what the
Yep.
hell was that all about? So,
And I know I'm home alone when this has happened. And, I'll look over there automatically,
yeah.
and it's like, it's so strong.
But you've seen like shadowy stuff from that kitchen before too, not just in this clip, well, not you
Right.
saw it in the clip, but
Well,
right before that.
Mary and I had both seen something at the same time. I was out in the kitchen and she was out here. And then when I came back out in the living room and I had mentioned something about it, and then it's like we confirmed with each other that, yeah, we saw the same thing.
That's right. And didn't you also say
Yeah.
you saw something in that general area when you were out on the deck grilling? Was that how that would you remember that? You were looking at
grilling.
Yeah, you were on the deck grilling and looking into the house and you thought that you had saw something in like the kitchen area. I could be totally screwing up your memory right there, but that's what I recall.
I'll have to think about that because I can't remember something like that.
Well, maybe
Because if I was out drilling, the only thing I'd be able to see it would be that large window that looks right into the dining room there. Yeah.
Maybe it was a living room. but I don't recall myself though. Maybe I'll edit that whole part out right there.
No, I'll have to think about it.
Well, Mike, let's get going here. Let's bring in Chloe. I can't wait for her to share her stories. This will be a blast. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you guys stick around for this entire episode. It is more than worth it. Just judging by the email that she sent me, these are some pretty weird, bizarre experiences. And
definitely worth listening to.
Again, we'd love to see you guys check out Patreon. We want to hear your feedback as to what possibly Chloe could be going through there. Yeah, it's going to be good. Well, Mike, let's take a time traveling excursion. It's been a hell of a long time since we've done that. And when we return, my lovely, talented, witty, beautiful niece Chloe will be joining us and regaling us with some creepy, ghostly tales. Hold on, boys and girls. Don't go anywhere.
We're ghosts.
So here we are. We are joined by my not only talented, not only intelligent, not only witty, but beautiful and just super cool all around, my awesome niece, Chloe. Good to see you, Chloe. Thank you so much for joining us. Mike, meet Chloe. Chloe, meet Mike.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm so scared still.
Oh, goodness. Don't
What
be
are you
scared.
afraid of? What are you afraid of?
That I'm gonna forget English and how to speak.
Well, do you speak any other languages that we can maybe translate?
We could try and figure something out for you.
No, not currently.
No German or anything?
Nothing like that?
German, only year 1 German.
Oh, yeah.
So I can tell you my name and ask you yours.
Chloe, in case, you do have a brain malfunction, I still have your email and I can peruse the stories that you sent. You're very well written, by the way. It's funny, Mike, she prefaced her email to me saying like, I don't know how to do this. And it's like, it comes across just great. And I also want to clarify that my worry was correct. I worried that I butchered the example I attempted to share on the last episode. Chloe just clarified that I did absolutely ruin the story. So she's here to clear all that up. But this is going to be good. I can't wait for Mike to hear.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Now, before, Chloe, feel free to chime in too. Mike, do you feel that there is such a thing as like an inherited apt to experience
absolutely
the paranormal?
In my mind, there's no question about that. I think, and I'm sure we've talked about it before, but I think about my own family and the generations back of things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder why that is. That's crazy.
I was gonna agree with that, and I'm sorry if you hear a crying boy in the background.
No, that's
trying to get into the room.
Tell Riley to be quiet.
The door shut. Yeah, it's Riley. No, I agree with that because I think that you have the potential to experience things in like any place. There are just certain places that you're more likely to, and certain people who are more likely to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like more sensitive for whatever reason. It's
more sensitive and also being fully open to it.
Now, For Star Wars fans out there, I'm going to get extra geeky here because it's kind of like, Mike, you might not know what I'm talking about. Chloe, I believe you might. It's kind of like the midichlorian count that is found in those who are force sensitives, and Chloe's shaking her head. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No idea.
Well, it was a big to do in the prequels where a lot of the fans got mad at George because they thought he was making the force less mystical and making it more like practical, because people like Anakin Skywalker, who eventually turned into Darth, obviously, Darth Vader and Yoda, they have higher what was called midichlorian counts, and it's like stuff that was in their blood cells that made them more force sensitive and more capable of experiencing things through the force. So I'm like, as far as the paranormal goes, I'm not sure if there's any sort of thing flowing through Mike's blood that makes him more likely to see a ghost as opposed to me. So it's what is it? Is it just all in your mind type thing? Great feedback, Mike. That was awesome.
Well, okay. Well, explain to me then exactly, how you feel about it. Do you, what is in your mind about how this works and the answer to that question? I mean, I put out what I was thinking. Let's kind of meld it together here and figure it out.
I think it has more to do with, for lack of a better term, the mind. I don't think it's anything physical. Obviously, to me, that seems kind of silly. Kind of AKA midichlorian count and stuff. We've talked about 1 billion times on the podcast, Mike. Maybe I think too hard, and I'm trying too hard to experience the paranormal, and by doing so, I'm kind of blocking myself off from it.
I think so, and you're not letting it happen. That as soon as you have an experience that I would, take as some evidence, you're very quick to say, or it could have been this, I mean, and then it's gone. That's that little bit that you need. And then, it's maybe that you're not quite open enough to it.
Yeah.
That open part is huge. I mean, you have to have some thought of believing in this stuff.
Oh, I know.
What you do,
I do.
But
and it's a great point. And I'm Chloe, we're going to dive into all your stories here briefly. I'm going to ramble on for about a second here because there was earlier today. There actually a coworker came up to me, and he's like going, "You do like paranormal stuff? You guys like talk to ghosts?" I'm like, what? Well, no, we don't talk to ghosts, and stuff. But long story short, I found out that he was really interested in it. And he was like, yeah, I was listening to like an episode the other day and I had to shut it off. I got creeped out. I'm like, what?
Really?
And I started thinking about it. I was like, man, that is so cool because I wish I could still get that freaked out feeling. Does that make sense? I mean, it's like, I want to be creeped out by the ghostly stuff. I mean, I'm super excited when Mike and we go to the Sally house. I'm super excited, but I never felt like the creepy, like, ooh, what's here? I'm thinking it might be different at the Villisca house.
Well, it will be. I really believe it will be.
But, going backwards again, I'm thinking that adds to my blocking. I'm not consciously trying to block stuff out. I want to experience it, but it's just not there. Yes, Chloe, you're raising your hand, sweetie.
Do you need to go to the bathroom?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It just reminds me of kind of like sports psychologists. Like the players think that they've reached their peak level of like physical fitness or athleticism, but like the sports psychologist will help them like hurdle over that mental block. And so it's kind of just like a mental block that you may think you're performing your best or you're the most receptive, but you're not.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Now, Chloe, when you experience these things, is your gut instinct to logically explain them away, or are you like, oh, like, does it automatically hit you as something that is paranormal, or do you try and like figure it out otherwise?
Yeah, so I think it can be like a fault for mine that immediately I'm like, oh my gosh, that was something. I might be too jumping into it because then I have to go say it out loud to somebody and then realize, oh, maybe that was nothing.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Just the other day by the wood stove, this one metal post that has a square bottom fell over and it hit me. And I ran downstairs and I told Riley, and I was like, this thing just fell over and it hit me. And he goes, yeah, it falls over all the time. It's like a bevel on the bottom. Like it doesn't stand up straight. So I was like, okay.
Okay,
I get too excited.
It's not a ghost. Okay, thank you.
But when I do say it out loud and I don't find that like logic behind it, then I'm like, yeah, nope, that's what it was. It was something else.
Now, Chloe, like getting back to the email you sent me, you sent such great examples. You even labeled them, which was awesome.
Hey, no, I gave them names.
You did. It was the email was titled "A Few Uncertain Encounters," and some of the titles include "Itsy Bitsy Spider," "Mimicking," "Sleep Paralysis," and "Beckoning." Let's just go in order here. Now, I will let you correctly tell the stories. I won't be butchering them anymore. And then, Mike, I can't wait to hear your feedback. But let's start with the Itsy Bitsy Spider experience. Okay. Yeah, this is bizarre stuff.
I'm sitting right now in my oldest boy, Oliver, and I say oldest, but he's 2.5. Yeah. In his bedroom. And this bedroom was my sister and we shared this bedroom when we first moved into the house, and we were little because I bought this house from my parents. And she would always complain that stuff would go on, and then other things would happen and blah, blah, blah. So I was sitting on Oliver's bed with him, and I was reading him a book. And Riley, my husband, came walking up the stairs, walked into the bedroom and said, "Why are you singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider?" And I looked at him, I rolled my eyes and said, I was not singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider. I know you're trying to mess with us, because he tries to scare us. And he was like, "No, I'm being serious. I heard you singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider." And from there, I dropped it until 2 nights, or maybe even longer after that, we were having dinner at my parents' house. And it was all of us, my sister and her boyfriend, and then my parents. And I was telling that story, saying, "Oh, Riley heard me singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider," or he says he did, but I wasn't. And my mom comes sprinting into the kitchen, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, the doll." And my sister and I look at each other, and I swear we both like peed ourselves at the same time and said, "The doll from when we were little." And it just triggered a memory of, we were both terrified of this doll and had a hard time sleeping. And we would tell our mom that it would sing the Itsy Bitsy Spider. And this doll did not have batteries in it, let alone the ability to sing. And it was always perched up on a shelf that's still there that I'm looking at right now. And we were just so petrified, because in the middle of the night, we would hear the Itsy Bitsy Spider song. And my mom's solution was to toss the doll under the basement stairs, and I don't know what happened to it after that.
Oh, I was going to ask you, what happened to the doll? Where's the doll?
I have no idea. And I was trying to think about it, because we packed up all those stuffed animals, and I don't recall like what happened to the doll. And I don't know if my mom knows either.
Oh, it has slipped through that thin veil that is in your house, and it's just waiting to come back through. One of these days, you're going to be all of a sudden in that room. That doll is going to be there.
Yeah. Or like,
wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah.
And I'm kidding. I'm sure it won't.
No, he's not kidding. It's going to be there. It's going to wake up on top of your face.
Be on my bed.
Yes, exactly.
I wish you still had it. I wish you still had it. I would offer to buy it from you.
Yeah. No,
Chloe,
I don't know what happened to it.
I know that your mom and your dad, the last time I visited, when we went to the school, the school, as longtime listeners know, dingy ding, dingy ding, they know what I'm talking about. There's a room upstairs that had a bunch of old, like, stuffed animals or toys or something from your, not all of it, but a lot of them were from your house, like your dad and mom's house.
Oh, yeah.
Would that doll happen to be sitting there in the school?
I think that is a possibility, because as you know, you're familiar with my father. He does not throw things away. He's not a hoarder, but toys, he would just keep them all. Stuffed animals, he kept them all. So I can see it having made its way to the school.
Now, that's interesting.
Wow.
That's intriguing. Maybe that's adding a little bit of mystique to the school experiences going on there as well. But Now this doll thing. So what? When you think about it, Chloe, do you think that this is something to do with the room itself, or like just the doll?
I think it's the room.
Okay, the room that you're in right now.
Yeah, I think it's the room because after that, it was my room for a while and I continued to have experiences. After that, it was my sister's until she graduated and she had a bunch of weird stuff happen to her, like up until like when she was a teenager. And so I think it's something about the room. It's hard to explain that I don't think the house is haunted.
Mhm.
Like, I wouldn't say this house is haunted, but there are things that happen. Like, it's weird to describe.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. And
Do things happen in many other parts of the house, or is it mainly concentrated in a certain area?
The most things have been in this room, but other stories like that I sent in that email like take place in other places of the house.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to get back to
Kind of. They involve a person who was in the room at the time, like the mimicking one.
Aha! You want to go forward? That's number 2.
I do.
That's number 2. Before we go to mimicking, real quick though, can you describe to Mike? And I'm pretty sure my memory isn't slaughtering this, either. Didn't you say that you thought you saw something in this allegedly haunted school? I mean, not haunted, but some weird stuff's going on there. Didn't you think you saw something when no one was in that school?
Yeah, so that was a recent one where I thought I saw someone. And then there was one from many years ago where I heard something.
And you were you had to go to the school when, I mean, this was like after hours. You had to go back to get something.
Yes, both times it was I used keys to get into the school.
Right.
And like got myself into the school. I was allowed. I was not breaking into the school.
Right.
And so the most recent one was I was walking out of my mom's room where you guys hear the chairs moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked down the very long hallway because it's a big rectangle school. So it went all the way down to the other end. You could see out the doors. And I saw a very small looking figure with it looked like it looked like a Pee-wee kid with football pads on.
Oh, that's right. I remember you said that. Look, a Pee-wee kid with football pads.
It looked like a kid with like a small head and gigantic shoulders. So it looked like a Pee-wee kid who was playing football. And it was horrible looking.
So, but this just devil's advocate here. Obviously, you said you could see all the way down to the doors on the other end. Are these glass doors? There wasn't someone on the outside of the doors.
Yeah, it's no, because that goes to the playground and the playground is fenced in.
Okay. And
so technically there's not supposed to be anyone. But like it could have, who knows, there was like a trash can and I invented the head. I don't know. But that, because it's so distinct looking that it was a figure because it had arms and legs and it just looked like big football pads and a tiny head.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like you guys have to convince me that I'm not crazy.
No, well, good luck with that one, right, Mike?
I know.
Yeah. So how tall would you say it was? Was it like 2 feet, 3 feet, or just approximation?
I would say between 3.5 and like 4.
Okay. And how far away was it from you again? Guessing?
It was a long ways. It was down to almost the very end, and I don't know what the length of the school is.
Okay. Yeah. That's another thing. I remember talking about that with your dad. I mentioned this to Mike too. I'd be really interested to look into like the history of the Babbitt school there. I don't believe it's that old. I mean, it's like, I mean, again, just because something's old doesn't mean it's haunted or anything like that. I mean, we all understand that, but I'm looking forward. I'll be up there in a couple weeks though, so we're going to be checking out that school again. And we're going to FaceTime with Mike, and I won't be an idiot and hold the microphone right up to the phone next time.
Yeah, there you go.
And all you
Yeah.
hear is a garbled electronic mess of Mike trying to pop through. But,
Yeah.
all right, Chloe, let's move on to the mimicking.
Yeah, this one's gross. Um, so I was laying in my bed. My bed is at our room is at the very end of the steps, so that like I can hear if little kids try to leave or if murderers are coming up the stairs. And I woke up and Mike, I don't know if you've ever seen Bruce Almighty
Oh yeah,
when
a few
the
times. Yeah.
the scene where he can hear all the prayers in the restaurant and it's
Yep.
so loud. So I woke up and that's like what was all around me was
Oh
just
boy.
these conversations and this sound, and it just made me super hot and I got super freaked out. I sat straight up and it was still happening and I was like, I am fully awake. I'm not dreaming right now. And then I stood up and it all stopped. And that's when I heard from downstairs, somewhere on the main floor, Oliver, so my oldest son, saying, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. And I walked and I had the worst feeling in my chest. And I walked into the hallway and I could hear it because now I'm right at the top of the steps, just Mommy, Daddy, Mommy, like clear. And I said,
And your
no.
son's voice.
And it was Oliver's voice.
Yeah.
And I said, nope, this is not right. And I walked to his bedroom and his door isn't shut fully, so I just put my hand on it and opened it and he was sleeping in his bed. And as I'm staring at him in his bedroom, I from the bottom of the steps can hear, Mommy, Mommy. And then I walked and I turned the light on in the hallway and I went back to my bed and it stopped and I didn't hear it again.
Wow. So what the hell is that all about?
Wow. Is it like
Chloe,
do you have any?
I think you're losing your mind, Chloe. I'm kidding.
I
kidding.
don't
No,
want to
I'm-
hear that.
No, you're not. Just putting you at ease a little bit here.
But that's not the first time that any like mimicking sort of experience has happened to myself or Riley for that matter. Like that's happened to us. And that's why I feel like that might not be related to the house. That might be related to us. But I don't know. It's
it depends on do you consider that or do you have any kind of poltergeist activity at all? You know, that this could kind of tie into like
You're shaking your head. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Like, does that mean like things moving?
Yeah, like little
Or knocking and
cranky
stuff?
type things
Yeah,
and knocking
no.
and things moving. Yeah.
Oh, well, just running. Everyone will be downstairs, including like all the humans and the dogs, and you will hear running
Oh,
up
really?
down the hallway. Yeah, and mostly from this bedroom. It will sound like someone's like whipping
Really?
circles around the bedroom.
You left that
Yeah.
out of your email. That's kind of cool.
Oh, well, that happens.
Yeah. Oh, by the
Yeah.
way, we just hear footsteps above us.
And I'm not the one who heard that initially. That was Riley's the first person who would hear that. And he just said, I'm so annoyed of hearing running when no one's up there. That's all that he
man.
said.
Oh, wow.
Like,
And
you're not scared.
that's cool, though, Chloe. Think about that. And it kind of
Yeah.
seems like it's basically in this same room as well. Something's going on in this room. Now, at the beginning of your mimicking segment, you also included a story of when you were around 12 that involved your brother Lane.
Yeah, that one's still. So that whole experience that I just said, I will still randomly, it'll pop into my head and I'll still feel that same like horrified feeling that I felt.
Yeah.
And I get that same feeling from when I think about what happened with Lane. Lane was very little. He's my younger brother who's right below me.
Yep.
I don't remember how old he would have been.
You say
Like
5 or 6
4,
at this
3,
time.
5 or 6, yeah. So I don't know where everyone else was. All I know is where my mom and Lane were when this story happened. I was walking down the stairs, and at the time, my mom had an office on the main floor, and we have since taken that whole wall out. so it's no longer there. But that office, there was also a little day bed in there, and Lane would lay in there and watch shows when he was little. And from there, I heard him, like, he said my name. And then I stopped because I got that same, like, why do I feel weird about this feeling? And he did it again, and I was like, said what? Or I said no, maybe I didn't say what yet, but or I think I did say what. Now sorry,
No,
I
that's
forget
fine.
English. But I heard him and my mom talking to each other from the basement. So then I knew, I was like, that is not, and it was as I was about to go open the door to go look in there, I hear him talking to my mom in the basement. So then I shouted down there to them and called for Lane, and he comes running up the steps and turns the basement corner and looks up at me, and he goes, like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, nothing, to leave this place. That's what I want. And that was the very first time that it happened to me.
Yeah, that's, according to what you wrote here and what you just said, obviously, the door was partially closed. I'm quoting you now, reading what you wrote. Only opened by a small crack. The lights were off. And I replied by saying, what, Lane? And heard my name again. And as you just said, I was walking towards the office to open it when I heard Lane talking to my mom in the basement. Yeah. Once again, I heard my name coming from the office, although Lane was downstairs. Yeah. What the hell is going on there again?
I think, and it's that moment of hearing something and being so close to something and knowing that it's not real is, like, I think where I get that horrible feeling from, that will just, like, randomly it'll come back and it'll, like, punch me right in the chest.
I like you said, just by titling it mimicking, that's what I keep thinking of. I don't know if because the power of suggestion, but that makes sense to me. It's like something is in there, it's kind of playing with you guys a little bit, having fun and throwing its voice, I guess, Well,
and like since I've gotten older, and at the house Riley and I first moved to, we would always hear each other calling our names. Like, I would hear him calling Chloe, and he would hear me calling for him, and it would usually be coming from whatever level of the house we weren't on. So if I was in the basement, I would hear it from upstairs. And if I was upstairs, I would hear it from the basement. But I had read, once I became a teenager and was looking into, like, mimicking, that you're not supposed to reply. And so I've always been freaked out that since I replied to it that very first time, that, like, I messed things up for the rest of my life.
Oh, no.
No, I think you're good.
Okay, good.
You know a weird thought that just popped into my brain? Now, what do you think about this, Mike and Chloe? What of the possibility that you are hearing Riley's actual voice? He is hearing your actual voice, but it's like from different parts of other dimensions. Kind of like there's like some little, well, dare I say, portal in that house that maybe is sharing some of those memories.
That thought came up into my head too, a portal type thing, but dimensions, or maybe a slip in time, possibly.
Does that kind of creep you out, Chloe, or is that kind of
a glitch in the matrix?
Glitch in the matrix. There you go.
That doesn't, because that's always been my theory for sleep paralysis, and that when you are, like, in the midst of sleep paralysis, it's because you, or whatever your being inside of you, whatever you want to call it, like your soul or whatever, is touching too close to the different dimensions, and so you're experiencing yourself from these different, like, times, or these different dimensions, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And this house is where I experienced my first sleep paralysis, and later in my life it would just get worse and worse and worse, and they were just horrible, and I would experience like 5 different selves at the same time, and I was just, because of how real it felt, convinced that they were all me, but in different dimensions, like different realities of myself.
Wow, that's awesome. You should write a book.
Well, yeah, why not? That'd be great. Or submit your
Because I
stories
don't-
to submit your stories to some authors of the paranormal at least to get your stories.
It would be
shared.
like 8,000 pages long because I cannot summarize anything.
Oh, come on, these are great. You summarize these
Yeah.
perfect. Again, Mike, this is what she wrote in her first line in the email. So I am unsure how to write this without it being a novel because there's a lot and I cannot summarize well. Well, you did just
Yeah.
fine.
No, it's great.
Yeah, in your story here about the sleep paralysis, I don't like hearing that you're having experiences where you could hear something breathing and shuffling steps across the
Yeah.
carpet in your room. And
Those were the first ones.
that was the first one.
Yeah, and those were like, that's nothing. Like, I would
Cool.
rather have that than what happens now.
Oh, I don't want to hear that.
No, it's cool when you talk about it after it happens, but not while it's happening.
No,
So when
yeah,
it first
I getcha.
happened was in this room, and at the time it was the first and only time where I've experienced sleep paralysis and my eyes have been able to open. That's never happened since then. And that's when I would hear the shuffling across the carpet and breathing in my ear. And like, as anyone says, it feels like 20, 30 minutes when really it might only be a minute. I have no
Right.
idea. And then I was able to shoot up and run into the bathroom and panic. And then I just got up and I walked back to my bed and I turned the TV on and slept with the TV on.
Yeah.
And
I would have
since
changed
then,
my sheets first.
yeah.
But anyway,
since then, and I don't know why I didn't wake my parents up, but I just don't want to be a little baby. I don't know.
Your dad would have ran and hid.
But yeah, he would have peed himself. He would have had to change his shoes. No, since then, not each time, but however so many times that I would experience it, more and more realities would like be trapped with me. So the worst one was when I was living next door at my older brother's house.
Mhm.
And this isn't related to this like house, so is it okay if I tell this
Oh,
one?
of course it is.
absolutely.
Okay, so I woke up, I'm using air quotes, and all of the rest of the time for when I had sleep paralysis, my eyes would be closed. I couldn't open my eyes. And I remember first I was patting Riley on the chest and saying, Riley, wake up, wake up. And I was shaking him. And that's my one reality that's going on this entire time is my arm patting him on the chest and telling him to wake up. Then the second reality is of him jumping out of bed, turning the light on and screaming that we have to leave.
Whoa.
And so all of this keeps repeating and it just keeps happening and happening. And then there's this other one where I have hands like pushing on my face, like one hand on each side of my face and just breathing into my face.
Oh my God.
And it's really, really hot. And I remember like just like wriggling. I could feel myself wriggling, like trying to get out of it. And then the next reality that comes in is really cold, clammy, like scaly hands grabbing my ankles and yanking me out of the door and down the steps. And I
Good
can
Lord.
feel all of this happening. I know. That's why I said you guys have to tell me I'm not crazy. And
well, we can
and
tell you all we want. I don't know if it's going to convince you.
yeah. And the final one is someone stomping up the steps into the room and stopping at the end of the bed. And for some reason, that's the worst one. Like that one scared me the most, is the person coming up the steps and stopping, like not yanking me out of the bed, like that. It was that person, or the hands on my face, breathing in my face. It was whatever was stopped right at the end of the bed. But all of these are happening at the same time, yet I'm experiencing them all so individually. And it's so long. And when I finally could wake up, I would like forget that, oh yeah, like none of that was actually happening to me. Because I would convince myself each single one of those was real. And then I would get so confused as to what was really the actual real one that I would forget like which reality was supposed to be my original one.
Good.
Because
Goodness.
because I believe like they all are actually my reality, but just not specifically my physical body, other bodies.
Now, when you snap out of these, Chloe, I mean, are you able to like kind of calm yourself fairly quickly? Are you okay, or does it take you a while to like kind of settle?
No, I'm like a mess for like multiple days.
Oh my god.
Like it freaks me out. But it hasn't happened for like it has not happened since my kids have been born.
Well, that's good.
So I'm very, very thankful. So that's been like 3 years of not having it.
Okay.
And
maybe it's the pure innocence of the boys. Maybe they're protecting you somehow.
Yeah, they're emitting some sort of light.
Yeah, that's
your protective angels have arrived. That's what it is.
Yeah. They're like, well, you weren't big enough deal when it was just you. So
Yeah,
now
right.
you have other people.
I don't know. I feel terrible that you have to go through that, though. I'm glad it hasn't happened for a while.
Yeah, me too.
Now, the other, we have a couple more to go here. Labeled beckoning. This one is pretty cool, Mike. I mean, I say it's cool to Mike, and Chloe's the one who had the experience, and be freaked out by it. Would you care to share the beckoning story?
Yeah, that was the most recent one from that email. It was a couple of weeks ago. I was trying to get Oliver to go to bed, and he always complains about ghosts in his room and wolves howling in his room. And
so just so our listeners know, do you mind, how old is Oliver now?
He's 2.5.
2.5.
And he just developed his, like, today he was telling me that he was a dragon and could fly. So he is like, imagination now has like triggered in his brain. But he always complains about ghosts, and they're in his closet, and wolves in his room. Mm-hmm. Wolves, good lord, sorry, wolves, not wolves.
Hey, your uncle, you're better than your Uncle Tony. He still says woofs.
So I was in the hallway looking for something, and he would run out, and he was complaining that there were ghosts in his, or no, he wasn't. He kept running out of his room, and he didn't want to be in his room. And he was talking about wolves. And so I would bring him back into his room and show him that the shadows that were from his ceiling fan were not real wolves. They were just shadows and all that jazz. And then the final time that he came running out of his room, he was like shaking, and you might have to look, because now I'm forgetting if he said ghost.
Let's see. You have here, it says last night after bringing him back to his room and explaining to him, like you just said, that the shadow on the ceiling is from his ceiling fan, not a wolf. He came sprinting out of his room while I was in the hallway looking for something, grabbed me and said, "Mom, ghost."
Yeah. And because other times he says monster, but yeah, he was shaking, and he grabbed me and he looked at me, and he was so serious, and he said, "Mom, ghost." And I was like, all right, let's go. You're sleeping with us. And so
let's go.
I walked into his room, turned his light on, grabbed his stuff, went back in there. And then I was still looking for whatever I was looking for. It was like a charger. And I was walking towards the other closet in the hallway right across from his room. And I just saw an arm go like this. And it was coming from, there's a doorway, and then it opens up into the rest of the room, and the closet is on the same wall as the doorway. And so where that arm would have came from is where the closet's at. And it was just it was a left arm. So if a body was pressed up against the wall, and the arm was just into the doorway, and it was going like this. And I just turned around and went into the bedroom and said, "Hey, Riley, guess what I just saw?"
Did it look like a totally detailed arm, or was it like a shadow or anything? Or?
No, it was an arm, like it was a person. And it wasn't a shadow, but it was so weird because it felt like it was void of color.
I was just gonna ask, like when you said it looked like an arm, so it wasn't like black or shadowy in nature.
No.
Okay.
But
they have like a tint to it at all, or something, maybe, or
it's so hard to explain. It just felt like something that was like taken from something else and put there. Like, I can't explain it,
Okay.
but it didn't have color, so it didn't look like it was from this. Does that make any sense?
Well, yeah, we're we're walking through this here. So was it off? Was it like elevated, like 3, 4, 5 feet off the ground?
It was, if it was on a body, it was of someone who is a little shorter than I am. So
Okay.
it was at the height, like where an arm could be if it was someone who was like 5'5".
It wasn't me.
It
I wasn't
was
there.
not you.
I was not in the closet.
Because I didn't go, Patrick,
Yeah, exactly.
get out of my room.
You would have only been about
Shut up.
You know.
Just be quiet.
Okay, never mind. I'll quit with that.
So, I mean, and it was, just so the listeners know, when you say it was going, the arm motion was like this, it is, like you said, like it was beckoning you. Imagine someone going like, hey, come here, move. And
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, the motion you do with your arm when you're waving someone over to come to you.
Right.
Yeah,
and it was only one wave.
And that's strange because, like, when you're talking about the mimicking thing, and it almost seemed like when you would hear your name being called or whatever in one place, then you'd hear it again. It's almost like he was could it possibly have been trying to lead you to where you were hearing that voice coming from, and then like this beckoning, like, come this way.
It's all like a beckoning.
Is it? You wonder if it's
so
like,
what
come,
you're
come
saying
here.
Is I'm gonna die.
No. So it's like, come here. Like maybe, hey, we got this cool wacky portal right here. Come take a look.
Yeah. No, thanks.
But things like this happen in different houses and different locations. It's not just one place. It's like it's been since you were a little girl. Actually, I mean, it's been your kind of a lifetime thing.
Yeah,
basically.
And like things have happened to Riley and I, like in cars, like driving places. We both were pulling into Babbitt, and we saw a hand go right in between us and go like this.
What?
And pull back. So what, I'm wiggling my fingers for listeners. So a hand went in between us both, and we looked at each other and screamed. We both screamed, and I like pushed on the gas, pulled back into the house, and we got out, and I said, "What did you see?" And he did that motion, and I was like, "That's exactly what I saw." And that's what that's the exact type of arm was that. It was not a shadow, it was a hand, but it was like void of color.
So that
it was
one,
like from a black and white movie.
That one right there, I'm not going to lie, Chloe, I got like chills when you said that for some reason, because I hadn't heard this before. This is a new one. Wow, it's almost like you got like an attachment going on there too.
That's exactly what was going through my mind a couple minutes ago. Is this an attachment, or it's not a location. It's not a structure thing. This is you. I mean, you need to do some research and some studying, some meditation. You know what I would suggest in that room where you're at? Do some sensory deprivation.
Oh gosh, yeah. Mike's a fan of sensory deprivation since the Sally House experience. That's for sure.
You might be surprised.
Yeah,
it's scary.
No, just go to your local Walmart like Mike did. The Walmart in Kansas, and and apparently he did. He found like the perfect sleep mask that just worked like a charm. And
it's like the ones you see on the Travel Channel shows and everything that they use.
Yep.
And I was standing there waiting for you because you were looking for something, and then I had said, "Well, I got to find this mask somewhere." Here, I was standing right by it.
He was standing right by it. Didn't have to look
didn't
at
even
all.
know it.
Another thing that just popped in my mind, Chloe, about possibly maybe this is centering around you in general, and maybe why that room seems like a hot spot is, well, I mean, think about when you're what is your safe place when you're a kid? What is the most important place when you're in your house when you're a child? It's your room. That's your sanctuary. That's where you go away. That you get away from people.
You mean it's not behind the garbage cans in the yard?
It isn't anymore. Not for you, Mike.
Oh, no, I've been doing it wrong.
Sorry. Sorry
No,
about
anyway,
that.
go ahead.
Mine is the bathroom, but that's a whole other
Okay, yeah.
story.
Yeah, somewhere in the cellar under the stairs.
Somewhere in the cellar. So I'm
Like a
wondering,
little-
if like, and this is pure conjecture, and we don't know. You know that. So, we're just, hopefully these are fairly educated guesses. I'm thinking that this is more revolved, centered around you, and you're kind of turning that room into this quote unquote hot spot. I'm doing the air quotes like you did, and there's something special going on there when it comes to Chlorissa Marie. And
there's a lot going on there, and it needs to be figured out and learned and used to the best of its ability.
And that's crazy, though. That, like I said, I honestly got chills when you said that, how you asked Riley immediately without saying what you saw. You asked him what he saw. And it was like this little woo. I mean, again.
Great verification of what happened, yeah.
Yeah, and randomly one of us will do that to the other person, and like I just did that to Riley not too long ago, and he just went, "Ooh."
Yeah. Brings back memories.
Yeah, it was scary. I'd never screamed
I can imagine.
From something just scaring me. It was.
I would have thought it was awesome.
Yeah, Mike, we know you would have thought it was awesome.
I wish it would happen.
And I do want to apologize for about 5 minutes ago when my high-pitched, squealy voice, my immediate reaction to Chloe. I apologize to our listeners. They're all rubbing their eardrums right now if they can. But I am 46 years old, but I still come across as a 5-year-old every now and then.
Yeah,
apparently.
Patrick does that at times. It's like a release for him. He's got to do this little squeal once in a while.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? I can make worse noises. Now, the final one you have in this email is, I don't know if it's my favorite. All these are awesome, but this kind of tripped me out. The sharing dreams aspect.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
This is pretty. Do you need a walk-in introduction to how you started it, or do you remember how you want to start?
That is about Savannah and Lane, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so that's my sister Savannah and Lane, the same boy from the other story. They used to share dreams, not like they would have the same dream, but they would be in dreams with one another.
Yeah.
So the first time that we found out that this was happening was Savannah comes down the stairs and Lane is little again. He's older than he was in the first story, but he's still small.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes down the stairs and goes, "Gosh, I had the weirdest feeling dream where I was on top of this big building and I was just looking for someone." And Lane and my mom's eyes just get giant. And Lane, I don't remember if Lane says it or if my mom says it, but does it say it? Did I say if Lane or my mom says?
You say, when Savannah comes running down the stairs, she said, "Man, I had the weirdest dream. I was on top of a roof of a tall building and I was looking for someone, but I could not figure out how to get off the roof." Then you go on, you say, "Lane and my mom's eyes widened as they told her." And what did they tell her?
Lane that same night had a dream that he was in this building with a bunch of doors and he was trying to figure out how to get onto the roof.
Yes.
Because he was looking for someone. And so obviously we go, "You guys were looking for each other."
Yep.
And you guys were trying to find each other. And they had, I don't know how many more, I would have to ask her, and I wish I would have, dreams where then they knew it was each other because they kind of became a little more conscious while they were sleeping and they knew they were trying to find each other, but they never ended up being able to find each other.
Yeah, you wrote here that, after you said Lane and my mom's eyes widened as they told her that same night Lane had a dream that he was in a building with many doors and long hallways trying to get to Savannah, who was stuck on the roof.
Oh yeah, he did say Savannah. Yeah, so
man,
that happened multiple more times. And I think Lane is kind of similar to me though, because he's had some weird experiences. He remembers the first time where he gained consciousness, as a child.
Oh my gosh. What?
Isn't that terrifying sounding? He remembers walking up
the
basement
alien?
Steps. I don't know, he might be, but he remembers walking up the basement steps and recognizing all of our family members but not knowing why he was so familiar. And then thinking I am a person, but not recognizing why he didn't remember he was a person before this. And so he's like,
wow.
that's like when I gained consciousness as a person. Like he remembers that that's his first memory, like as a child.
That's amazing.
For that to
Yeah, so
happen, he has to be coming from somewhere. That to me, that's like a very excellent example of we are existing before we're born.
He used to tell us stories of his past life. I
Mhm.
don't remember what they were, but vivid stories of his past life. So I'm assuming that's when his soul like finally dropped his past life and let him move on to this next one. But so that's why I think he's similar to me in that sense.
Man, what the heck's going on in that family over there, Chloe? That's
It's these dreams. It's like dimensional traveling. That's like the word that I can put on it, or what it feels like to me. It's like trying to find each other, knowing that in that other dimension, where you're at and everything, but when you visit that other dimension, trying to figure it out as you go and everything, and
it's like they were
find
having
each other.
It's like they were having simultaneous like astral projection. It's like they were.
That's what my mom used to call it, because she used to, when she was younger, actually try to do that with her dad, I think.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know
And
that.
so
I've never heard that.
So she said, "Oh, that's what you guys are doing. Like you are projecting into each other's dreams or whatever."
Wow. Have you ever had something like that happen, Mike? Have you ever shared a dream of any sort that you can remember?
Well, I don't remember the dream.
Yeah.
But I do remember waking up laughing. It was just like an afternoon nap, just laying there napping, and I remember both of us waking up at the same time, and we were both laughing, and we just woke up and looked at each other and said, "Wow, that was really cool." But I have no idea what the dream was or what it was. I mean, it was like something, but it didn't follow me into the waking. I couldn't remember what happened, but whatever it was funny. It was we were laughing, and it was really cool. I guess.
Was a ghost tickling your feet? Both of all four of your feet?
I don't know.
I don't know that. Unfortunately, if I've experienced something like that, I don't remember at all. But that's pretty cool. When I read that, Chloe, I was like, that's pretty darn neat. I like that story.
Yeah.
Now, have you experienced anything like that, Chloe, or has it just been like what Savannah and Lane have experienced?
That is just with Savannah and Lane. I've never had a dream simultaneously with anyone. My mom and I have had the exact same dreams, but sometimes I don't know, sometimes that's common for people to have similar dreams.
Sure.
But I've always been able to, I know when I'm dreaming, like I'm conscious when I'm dreaming, so I'm able to like do whatever I want.
Oh, I would love to be able to do that. I've always wanted to, never been able to.
Yeah,
It's
and
an amazing thing.
It is super cool, except for sometimes I think I'm actually like reliving some memory of a different me, because I try to change it and everyone just looks at me and goes, "What are you doing? Like, this isn't right." And it's like, "Oh God, what's happening?"
Oh my gosh.
And then I wake up because it freaks me out.
It's like you're not supposed to alter this. You're not supposed to alter the space-time continuum,
Right.
Like it's crazy, because sometimes it's fine and I get to change whatever I want, and then other times I try and it's like everyone looks at me and they're like, "You're doing it wrong." I'm like, oh geez.
There's this is kind of on a different path altogether, but another thought that just popped in my brain, thinking about all the stuff that you and your family experience, Chloe, and you guys are such a tight knit family. I mean, you guys all, you're basically one soul, in my opinion here. And when I say that, there's theories out there that's like past lives could involve you are interacting with the same souls every existence that you have, but in different forms. Not necessarily like Lane wouldn't necessarily be your brother in another past life. He'd be connected some other manner. And I'm that's what just popped in my brain, is that you guys are just forever this. You are this spiritual unit, and you are all experiencing this stuff together.
Yeah, like if we've done it so many times that it's now easy, or it's kind of like a part of like that string theory where we're all connected, every living thing is connected, just your people. And like I think a lot of people like call it your soulmate or whatever. You just have strings that are much shorter to certain people, so it's just easier for those like to weave in and out of like laws that we think aren't supposed to happen when
Goes
your
against
string
physics.
is so short. Yeah. So it bends like what we understand of physics just because our strings are just so much shorter to these people.
I like that.
I specialize in the string cheese theory.
Yeah.
Great.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what you're thinking.
I kind of gravitate towards twine myself. Sorry about that.
Yeah, he's very specific about. He's very particular about his twine.
Bad joke.
Nah, mine not any worse than mine. So we have to get the bad jokes out of there. So, well, Chloe, this has gone on for an hour now. This has been awesome.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Oh hell no! I'm saying that as a good thing. That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Yeah.
But
You're taking up too much of our time. No. I think you need. I think you really need. Yeah, it has. You really need to do some deep searching research on yourself and deep into your soul, because you've got a lot going on that you need to kind of grasp onto and
maybe help you, clear things up for you, add a little clarity of what's going on. It won't make you worry that you're losing your mind, because you're not.
Yeah. You're not the only one that has, a lot of things like this happens.
Now, Chloe, can't thank you enough. We'll let you go. We're going to wrap up the show here. As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, Mike and I, we talked about our weird video anomaly. A weird anomaly that was captured on video on Mike's television set there, the reflection that is still inexplicable. We'd love for you guys to go check that out. Give us your feedback. What do you think it is? We can't figure it out for the life of us. Check out the Patreon page, available only there, exclusively on Patreon, including all of our Patreon episodes, all sorts of wonderful video, audio clips of Mike and I running around in our underwear in cemeteries, and all sorts of good stuff like that. Mike yawning and rubbing his belly at the same time, and it's all worth it. It's so worth it.
It is worth it.
Yeah. So
we have fun. We hope everybody else does too.
And I forgot my my proper sound off thing, so I'll have to mimic it again. My Inspector Kemp, my Inspector Kemp sign off.
No, he knows right where it's at. He just likes to do it himself.
Yeah, no, I wish I did, but again, big thanks to you.
You do it well,
Chloe.
though. You do it well, though.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Big thanks to you again, Chloe. This has been a blast. I hope you had a good time. You're more than welcome to come on the show anytime you want. Let us know of any other weird, wacky stuff that happens. But everybody, thank you so much.
Until we meet again.
Peace out.